Good evening and welcome to the evening news. I am Kayode Adebayo. The Chief Executive Officer of Bamanga Dajada Oil and Gas Free Zone Authorities Liberty says President Bola Tinubu's initiative on alternative energy source has attracted over $1 billion in direct foreign investment in the last 17 months. Jada disclosed this at a sensitization program on CNG infrastructural development at the oil and gas free zones in Port Harcourt. This was just as key stakeholders in the transportation, environmental, and oil and gas sectors have said the compressed natural gas initiative of President Tinubu is one of the major drivers of industrialization. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, said the initiative remained one of the bold reforms of the President. The sensitization tagged Driving Sustainable Transportation. Accelerating CNG adoption was organized by Portland Gas in collaboration with the Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority. Meanwhile, the federal government has declared that Nigeria's oil production, including condensates, increased by 9.9% to 1.69 million barrels per day in November 2024, up from 1.538 million barrels per day recorded in October this year. According to the latest data released by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, an agency of the federal government, liquid crude oil production rose by 11.42%, reaching 1.48 million barrels per day in November, compared to 1.33 million barrels per day in October. However, this figure remains below the production quota allocated to Nigeria by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Conversely, condensate oil production exempt from the OPEC quotas declined slightly by 0.01% in November, dropping to 204,828 barrels per day from 204,806 barrels per day in October. The data highlights the ongoing challenges in meeting national production targets while underscoring recent efforts to boost output in the upstream sector. Commenting on Nigeria's quota, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Adeleke said the resolution of OPEC to extend Nigeria's oil production quota to 1.5 million barrels per day is in line with the country's output target. Information and National Orientation Minister Mohammed Idris has said that funds saved from the stoppage of subsidy payments are being used to execute high-impact projects and schemes by the Tinubu administration. He spoke at the 2024 Annual Conference of the International Press Institute with the theme, Democracy, Media Freedom and the Imperative of Protecting the Nigerian Civic Space in Abuja. The projects and schemes, according to Idris, are student loans, physical and digital infrastructure, low-cost consumer credit, agricultural production, and targeted social investments. He shed light on the proposed tax reforms, media freedom and protection of Nigeria's civil space, energy transition, and the judiciary being championed by President Bola Tinubu, insisting that Nigeria is on the verge of fundamental economic reform anchored on the renewed hope agenda. Idris explained that the tax reform initiative was envisioned to simplify Nigeria's existing tax regimes and make compliance easier, while also reducing tax burden on the most vulnerable Nigerians. Wholesale gas-producing companies have abruptly stopped the supply of natural gas to power generation companies for electricity production over the non-payment of debts accrued from previous supplies. The Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Power Generation Companies, Dr. Joy Ogaji, disclosed the latest development in an interview with newsmen, stressing that the gas-producing companies have formally notified all gencos of the suspension of natural gas supply. The gas supply was abruptly halted after the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority reportedly instructed gas producers to suspend the delivery of natural gas to indebted gencos until further notice, citing the escalating debts. The situation has led to a nationwide electricity blackout, severely impacting power generation across the country. Earlier this year, Minister of Power Adelabu disclosed that the federal government will start offsetting part of the debts it owes power generating companies and gas suppliers from April this year. The Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions has attributed the worsening cash shortage across the country to the Central Bank of Nigeria's inability to meet the cash demands of commercial banks. Speaking with newsmen, ASBC President Olusoji Oluwole highlighted the dire impact of the scarcity, particularly as the festive season approaches, with increased demand for cash for shopping and business transactions. He noted that the Apex Bank has failed to meet the cash demands of banks, while retailers profit by selling cash instead of depositing it back into the banking system. Oluwole, who maintained that banks are not in a position to force retailers to bring the cash to banks, explained how the dynamic exacerbates the scarcity of cash in automated teller machines and across bank counters. While stressing the importance of CBN providing clear statistics on cash circulation to improve distribution efficiency, he advocated for a shift towards less dependency on cash, emphasizing that a cashless economy is cheaper, safer, and more efficient for the country. The Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee and Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission are locked in a dispute over the constitutional right to administer and allocate value-added tax revenues in the country. Reports indicate that while both entities support the need for tax reforms, their positions differ sharply on the constitutional interpretation and implications for revenue sharing. In a memo to the National Assembly, the Commission emphasized its constitutional mandate to determine revenue sharing formula and cautioned against any arbitrary changes that could disrupt the VAT allocation system. It further argued that VAT as a consumption tax must be distributed in a way that supports less economically developed states to ensure national cohesion and stability. In contrast, Chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, contended that VAT predated the 1999 Constitution and was fundamentally a state tax. He argued that VAT's design as a consumption tax meant its administration and allocation should reflect its nature, adding that the existing system, which allocated 85% of VAT revenue to state and local governments, already reinforced its classification as a state tax. Now, to the story on UniLesha. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilesha, Professor Taiwo Ashaolu, has reiterated the commitment of the Citadel of Learning towards fostering an environment of academic excellence, innovation, and personal growth needed for students to succeed in an ever-changing world. Professor Ashaolu reiterated this at the second matriculation ceremony of the institution, marking the commencement of the 2024-25 academic session held at the multipurpose hall of the university. In his address after admitting the students, Professor Ashaolu, who congratulated the students and their parents, noted that the university has provided facilities to enhance teaching and learning in a conducive environment. He urged the students to be good ambassadors of the school as they embark on the journey that will lead to the realization of their dreams and prepare them to a better future. The matriculation ceremony climaxed with the signing of the matriculation register by the students. Now to sports. Nigeria's long jump star Ese Brumi has set her sights on winning gold at the 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan, as she becomes the first recipient of the National Sports Commission's Adopt an Athlete Training Grant Initiative. Director General of the NSC, Bukola Olapade, revealed that Brume, who holds the African record in the women's long jump at 7.17 meters, expressed her determination to claim the gold medal despite recently surviving a car accident. Brume, 28, has shown steady progress on the global stage, winning bronze in 2019 and silver in 2022 World Championships. The Tokyo event will mark her fourth appearance at the World Athletics Championship, and it will not only mark a significant milestone for Brume, but also make her the first Nigerian athlete to win a medal in 3 World Championships appearances. Her inclusion as the first beneficiary of the NSC's Adopt an Athlete initiative further underscores an importance to the Nigerian athletes, as the program aimed at providing targeted support to elite athletes was activated following Brume's accident. And now to the foreign scene. Ethiopia and Somalia have agreed to hold technical talks to resolve a dispute sparked by Ethiopia's deal with Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland, according to a statement. Turkey has been mediating between the two East African countries as tensions between them have smeared since Ethiopia signed a memorandum of understanding with Somaliland to lease land along its coastline to establish a marine force base, while Ethiopia will recognize Somaliland's independence in return. A joint declaration was reached after Turkish President Recep Erdogan met separately with Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. It says the sides agreed the talks, which will begin by February next year and conclude within 4 months, will respect Somalia's territorial integrity while recognizing potential benefits of Ethiopia's access to the sea. And that ends the evening news on OSBC TV. Please join us at 7 for the major report. Good evening.